Okay, Jamie Azzopardi is my name. I'm here to support my colleague Chacko, who is one of our global agri leads, based out of the US. I am the what we call the business unit executive for Watson Media and Weather here in Australia, of which the Weather Company sits. So just to follow up from what Sean said, IBM acquired the Weather Channel / the Weather Company for $2.2 billion US a couple of years ago. We fully transferred into IBM on the 1st of November this year, so it's a bit of a milestone for us. Here to tell you a couple of stories, I guess. Chacko is going to talk to you about what we're doing in agriculture and how we're working globally with agri-producers in different sectors. And I'll tell you a little bit about the Weather Company and why we differentiate and our story. And we'll go from there. Okay, so we approach everything as business. So business insights, business decision making, information making. We are not a weather forecaster per se, even though we are, but we weather forecast so that we can get that information into our decision making systems. And again, and Chacko will talk to you, hopefully, a bit more about that. Okay, so a couple of things about us, and I'll just sort of move this over so I can have a look at the slide. So within the Weather Company, the genesis there was about 30 odd years ago through the Weather Channel in North America. If you've been to the States and you've watched that channel, you would have seen our data, you would have seen our software visualizing weather events on 96% of the TV networks in North America and parts of Europe as well. We take traditional data sources. So for instance, in Australia, we take the Bureau of Meteorology's publicly available data and we complement it with alternate non-traditional data sources. That is airlines flying over us as we speak. That is mobile phones capturing barometric pressure. We have 15 million monthly active users globally providing that information to us. We have just signed up a number of automotive manufacturers to get windscreen wiper data. So when their windscreen wipers are running, guess what? We know there's probably rain where that car is as well, right? So we're starting to capture this data, and this is really important, right? This is crowdsourced data. This is a big theme of what I'm hearing about in the conversation today. This is people giving us availability, giving us access to that data so that we can use it to drive insights. So what does that look like from an Australian perspective? Let's have a quick look. So to your left, you will see the Bureau of Meteorology's weather stations across Australia. Those little blue ones are our private or personal weather station networks, which we use to complement. They are made up of people, perhaps some people in this room that might have weather stations on their farms or at their houses or whatever. They give us access to that data. I'm one of those because I have to have one. But also private enterprise as well. We have a lot of private enterprise customers that have systems across their networks for whatever reason, and they give us access to that data too. So the proposition here is if we're going to leverage technology and data for business insights, you want to have the best data that you can get, right? You want to have as much of that data, and then you want to filter that data because not all data is good data. So even within that private weather station network, which is around about 5,500 devices, we probably disregard, I think the last number was about 400 or 500 weather stations we just don't listen to because we don't trust the data coming out of it. We complement all that with radar, satellite imagery, buoy, or as my American colleagues will say, buoys. So again, whatever we can get, we kind of bring into the system. What does that mean? So globally, we can go down to 500 metres, 15-minute forecasts at any one stage, okay? Again, why does this matter? Because you'll start to see through what Chacko is going to talk about in a moment that this starts feeding into business systems. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Chacko, and hopefully you go okay.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. I'll try my level best. Like Sean said, I picked up a bug on the way here. I just want to hit a couple of points on what Jamie said. We have the most accurate and high geospatial resolution weather data in the industry. That means our current zone demand, that's real-time data on what's happening in the weather-wise. That's on 500 meter, and also the forecast is the 500 meter. We can talk about the science, but we have come out a way to come on that resolution. That means you don't have to depend on where the near weather stations are, kilometers away. You will have workable data sets on your farming operation. So after the acquisition of the Weather Company, they brought me in to build this business across the globe. Our view is a global scale. We are applying this platform approaches, whether to Australia, to US, to Africa, to India. we have team members across the globe working with the agribusinesses. So what we are trying to do is create a digital twin of your farming operations. So in the introductions, we heard about problems like data sharing, record keeping, traceability, and applying blockchain, and the data silos, all these things that we heard about. But what we are trying to do is that make that happen across the value chain. So that's where we are starting with creating the digital twin of your farming operation, and then creating insights of that and helping you with the decisions. We started working on this years back with the Gallo Winery in California, and now we have several of the clients across the world using the platform and also the weather data. So, like a lot of people, before talked about, IBM will not even solve the problems alone. We want to work with all of you and create the ecosystem partnership across the value chain. That means we're working with the grower-based organizations, big farms out there, and also the crop insurance agents, crop insurance companies, government, and also the ag lenders of the world and the big banks of the world. What that means is they can log on to our platform, they can use our analytics, and that way we'll have the consistent data across the value chain. So all these analytics and all your data will become part of the electronic farm records. Your weather data, your farming operations data, your soil data, crop yield, everything will become part of our electronic farming records. Your livestock operations, everything become part of the electronic farm records. Then we want to apply our IBM's proprietary technologies like Watson and artificial intelligence to create newer insights and open up for the market to create new insights and make new decisions. That's what we are trying to do, and that's happening right now in the industry. So what data that goes into making those decisions? IoT data sets coming right out of your irrigation controllers, your equipments, your weather stations, all those data right now in place. We can consume all those data into creating those electronic farm records. And the public and private data sets, we have 5 petabytes of data in our repository to make things happen. And imagery, satellite imagery, complemented with your own drone data sets, could be part of the electronic farm record. And your data, your farm and soil sampling information, your operations data sets, everything we can combine to make these decisions. How are we doing this? We have created a big data engine that can layer all these data sets and combine so that it makes it easier for any of the decision makers out in the field. That's a view of our big data engine behind the scenes that's working. So that's some of the technologies, and moving on, some of the capabilities involve pest and disease prediction, risk predictions. What that will do is that it will give you on where is that going to happen. So in your operation, pastoral dieback, I understand that's one of the major issues in Queensland areas. So with our Watson engine, it will give you the risk predictions on where that is, and then somebody can go out and take a picture of those areas and scan it to a Watson, and it'll give you the confidence level of how much that is affected in the parts of the field. That is Watson applying to your operations. And then this is another view of other capabilities that's available in the platform. Yeah, we've touched on that. One thing I want to elaborate on is that, a lot of you might have mixed farm operations. So I've seen in the US, Canada, your livestock will have the grain operations combined together. Yield is a very important information that is available in the platform right now. So one of the other areas that you're working that is relevant to you is meat price predictions. So with all those electronic farm records that I have mentioned earlier on, combining with our weather data on the seasonal probabilistic forecasting weather data, we create different scenarios of this demand and supply. Based on that, we can come up with the different price predictions in the marketplace. So that is available right now, and that's already working for some of the largest meat producers in the world. So I just wanted to leave that with you. I can answer any questions later on.
Thank you, Chacko.